application. When we go into design mode, we have the luxury of being able to use the controls right from the component list over here. So we can drag a panel on, and this is basically a Swift component, but it's packaged up as a flex component, so that you can call it up. And if we resize it, type in Hello World by convention at the top of it, we end up laying stuff out on the application. There's two basic perspectives. One perspective is the design perspective, which you can drag and drop on, so you can put things on like horizontal sliders and labels, etc. And just change that. Okay. So we've got this perspective, and the second one is the source perspective. The source perspective is where a lot of developers spend their time. So what this is doing is just basically declaring a panel, and you notice that the closing element for the panel is below. We declared a button on it, and then a slider and a label. Notice that they're not in the same vertical hierarchy as the components. Here we have the button at the bottom, the slider in the middle, the label at the top. This is because by default we use an absolute layout. If you want to run this, it'll save it. You just hit the green button, it's eclipse based. And basically you've created an application. So this is our application. We can maximize it, we can minimize it, we can make it larger again. There's a slider we can slide it. There's absolutely nothing right now, and there's a button to close it. So it puts on the system Chrome. If we were to deploy the air file, we could deploy this to an Android device, we could deploy this to Linux, Ubuntu 10.10, we could put it to a PC or to a Mac. If we want to have something happen with the application now, I'll just show you kind of the 10 very down and dirty easy things you want to do, just so you can kind of understand this before we move on. Give the panel an ID. So if you want to program against something, you have to give it an ID. And then if you want the button to do something, you basically capture the event. So there's a click event, a clear event, a mouse over, a mouse double click event, etc. So you can generate an event handler. And this has now taken, there's an event that will be generated, and the event will be passed to this protected method, so it's a mouse event. And then we can do something up here. So we could say my panel dot visible equals false, and we've got a complete statement. And when we run it again, there's now some functionality to it. There's the panel now, it's still there in memory, it just hasn't actually displayed us. If you want to do something a little bit trickier with it, we can set up a variable and bind something. So we'll give this guy an ID of my slider. And then we'll set up go back to the design view for this, a minimum value of 10, a maximum value of 100, step size of 1, live dragging is true, and we'll go back and set up a change handler for this. And when this changes, we're going to first have to declare a variable. If you want the variable to be bindable, meaning somebody else can bind to it, you have to use the bindable keyword. So we'll say font size. Now this is a strongly typed language, so we're going to use number for the type. So we'll just set an initial value of this for 24. And for the label, down here, we'll say the label's font size is bound to use these curly brackets, and we'll now bind it to our variable at the top. So when we run this now, it'll run and it'll be a little bit bigger, so you see the font size is bigger. If we want to control this as the slider changes, we can just say font size equals, and we can say we have to give it a my slider dot value. Notice the value returns a number, and another typo already. So we can run this now, and we should have the behavior that it gets. Oh my. just to give you an idea of how this is wired together, there's three passes over the source code that happen in Flex. The first one is to validate that it's the rules of XML are adhered to, and that's why we have to wrap the script inside what's called a character data block. The character data says suspend the parsing rules of XML, don't parse this as PC data, distribute as character data. So it first goes, if it's syntactically correct for XML, the second parse goes through and it picks up and makes sure all of these things map to the components and properties and events on those components. And if that passes, the third pass comes and compiles it. And what it does is it starts taking things in a certain sequence, and then it starts wiring them together. So it basically says, you know, create this variable called font size, it's a number, and assign it an initial value of 24. And then what it does is when it creates this label down here, it says set the font size of this to that font size variable, but at the same time register an event listener. If that font size thing changes, I have to change too. So anytime the variable changes, it dispatches an event down to change the label. The horizontal slider has an event listener on it that listens for the change event when you drag it. As soon as that changes, it calls this particular function up here, change size, which then sets the font size to the value of my slider. And of course, when that changes, this label updates it. So everyone clear on that? I told you this is the overload, information overload. Now, one cool thing about this is you can do some really cool connections to different types of applications. So I've got a lot of J2E app servers running on my laptop. I'm just going to start one of them up now. It's my favorite one. It's a free open source one. And just to make sure it's here, I'll hit it in my browser. Okay. Okay, this is always a mystery to me. Check this out. If you view this, this is the public view for people looking at XML with the browser. It just kind of jumbles it all up. But the source code view is all nicely formatted. It seems a little bit backwards, doesn't it?
Maybe from browser to browser.
Yeah, I know, man. Anyhow, we have an XML wine list here. One of the things that a lot of people want to do in mobile is, you know, connect to the projects that they have. I've got the same app server set up at nickull.net/XML/wine. So I'm first going to do it on here, then I'm going to change it, I'm going to port it and run it on the mobile device to show you the steps it takes for that. So we'll set up another one. We'll run this one as well in air. Now we've got a complex data structure. Right? We've got XML with the root element of wines, and then a vintage, and then a recurring node of name, vineyard, price, parker notation, etc., etc. So if you were given this job and you were saying, you know, you first have to have an application go out, hit this, bring back the data, and then bind it to a display object, you'd probably say like, I don't know, 3 days, 2 days, you know, a day if you're really fast and honest. It's actually quite quick right here. So I'm going to build it in the next minute or so.